Before dawn, as over 140 crew members begin their routines, a 90,000-ton behemoth is already in full operation, an entire sea base built to project military power without ever asking permission from any shoreline on Earth. This floating fortress is not just the largest of its kind, it is the outcome of a radical decision made in 2015, transforming a commercial tanker into the Navy's most flexible defense stronghold. But what does daily life and relentless defense actually look like aboard a ship that rewrote the rules of modern warfare? The answer starts with the people moving through its passages right now. At 4 in the morning, the ship's corridors pulse with quiet movement. On the bridge, a military sealift command mariner checks the navigation display, eyes steady as the vessel holds position far from any land. Down in engineering, another civilian watchstander monitors the diesel-electric plant, 4 generators humming beneath thick steel decks, pushing 90,000 tons through dark water. In the forward house, Navy personnel start their own routines. The aviation boatswain's mate inspects the flight deck, running gloved hands over tie-downs and catwalk rails, while a security team checks the perimeter, scanning for threats invisible in the pre-dawn haze. The hybrid crew model is more than a roster. 44 military sealift command mariners and 101 Navy personnel share the ship, each with a distinct rhythm. The civilians called CivMars rotate through navigation, engineering, fueling, and damage control watches. The Navy detachment, led by an active duty captain, handles aviation, force protection, and mission command. Their days overlap, but rarely mirror each other. In the galley, a few early risers, military sealift command and Navy alike, trade quiet nods over coffee before splitting toward their stations. Rotations never stop. While one watch reads the logbook, another heads for the gym or bunks. The ship's medical officer checks on overnight reports, while a boatswain's mate tests the ship's public address system. On the mission deck, maintenance teams ready equipment for the first launch cycle. This is the lived reality of 24-hour readiness, a floating base that never truly sleeps, manned by 2 crews whose skills must dovetail to keep the operation seamless. Each action, routine or urgent, threads into a cycle designed to keep the ship on mission, no matter what the clock reads. The blueprint for the Expeditionary Sea Base began with a question. How do you deliver a mobile port, capable of supporting modern warfare, to places where no nation grants access? The answer came in the form of the Mobile Landing Platform, an experiment in using proven commercial hulls as the backbone for military operations. Naval architects turned to the Alaska-class crude carrier, a vessel known for its sheer size and reliability, as the foundation. This decision allowed engineers to bypass the cost and complexity of traditional warship construction, focusing instead on endurance and adaptability. In September 2015, the Navy formally reclassified these platforms, giving rise to the ESB designation, Expeditionary Sea Base. The transformation was more than a name change. It reflected a shift in thinking, from cargo transfer to true sea basing. The result is a ship stretching 239.3 meters from bow to stern, with a beam of 50 meters and a full load displacement approaching 90,000 tons. Beneath the deck, a commercial diesel-electric propulsion system delivers a steady 15 knots and a range of 9,500 nautical miles, enough to circle the globe without touching a pier. Inside the design offices, engineers describe the payoff in practical terms. The vast deck space allows for a 4-spot aviation layout, while the hull's stability supports heavy helicopters, and tilt rotors in all but the roughest seas. The sheer volume below deck accommodates mission modules, maintenance shops, and living quarters for hundreds. Every meter of steel, every ton of displacement, is calculated to keep the ship operational far from friendly shores. What began as an adaptation of a commercial tanker became a floating fortress, one whose scale and flexibility shape every hour of its defense operation. As daylight breaks, the flight deck comes alive. The air boss stands at the edge of the four-spot deck, headset pressed tight, voice crisp over the radio. Below, the aviation crew moves with practiced urgency, chalking wheels, checking fuel lines, and scanning the sky for the first inbound. This deck, stretching across 50 meters of steel, is the ship's beating heart. Its layout is deliberate. 4 marked landing spots arranged to keep helicopters and tilt rotors cycling in and out, even as maintenance teams hustle gear and fuel carts between sorties. On a typical morning, 2 MH-53 helicopters spool up for mine countermeasures, rotors thundering as they wait for clearance. An MV-22 Osprey idles in the next spot, ready to lift a special operations team ashore. The 4th position remains open, reserved for quick-turn refueling or emergency recovery. Every movement is choreographed by the Air Department, the bosun's mates, fuels crew, and safety observers, all working in sync. Their rhythm is relentless: launch, recover, refuel, repair, repeat. The deck never stays still for long. Each hour brings a new cycle. Aircraft launch for airborne mine countermeasures sweeps, return for hot pit refueling, and swap out with intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance or logistics flights. The hangar just aft of the deck holds 2 more aircraft, ready for maintenance or rapid deployment. Down on the mission deck, mobile maintenance facilities hum with activity, keeping the aviation tempo high. NAVC lists aviation, berthing, staging, and command and control as the ship's core strengths, but it is here on the open deck that those capabilities converge. The tempo is set not by the clock, but by the needs of the mission and the skill of the crew. Below the flight deck's constant motion, the ship's endurance is measured in square feet and gallons. The mission deck spans 25,000 square feet, an expanse packed with vehicles, mission modules, and mobile maintenance facilities. In the fuel tanks, 380,000 gallons of JP-5 jet fuel sit ready, managed by a military sealift command fuel chief, whose daily calculations shape the tempo of every operation. Each launch cycle draws from these reserves. MH-53 helicopters on mine countermeasures, MV-22 aircraft moving Special Operations Forces teams, and utility helicopters for logistics all rely on that uninterrupted flow of fuel to keep sorties cycling and teams in the fight. This storage is more than a number on a spec sheet. It means the ship can support complex missions for weeks without pulling alongside a pier or waiting on a vulnerable supply chain. The mission deck's footprint allows for simultaneous staging of mine countermeasures, sleds, unmanned vehicles, and Special Operations Forces boats, while mobile maintenance containers let technicians handle everything from routine inspections to major repairs at sea. A Special Operations Forces planner can brief an assault team on one side of the deck as an aviation mechanic swaps out a rotor assembly nearby, both drawing on the same core of stowage and sustainment. Every gallon of JP-5 and every pallet of gear translates into hours of aircraft on station and teams ready to move. When the ship's sensors track a new threat, or a minefield is detected in a choke point, there is no scramble for resupply. The platform is already equipped to respond. This is how the Expeditionary Sea Base turns raw capacity into strategic presence, holding its place as a floating base that can outlast the need for friendly ports. The numbers behind the steel and fuel tanks are what allow the defense operation to keep running day after day, wherever the mission demands. In September 2019, the Secretary of the Navy reclassified expeditionary sea bases from auxiliary status to commissioned warships. This change placed ESB ships under the USS designation, altering their legal standing and combat authority. Commanders now operate with the full rights and responsibilities of a warship, including expanded rules of engagement. The shift means the ESB is recognized as a combatant vessel under international law, not simply a support ship. For the ship's command legal advisor, this reclassification clarifies the scope for defensive actions and employment in contested waters. The platform's hybrid crew structure remains, but its operational posture aligns with the rest of the Navy's fighting fleet, ready for direct integration into maritime defense operations. On August 17, 2017, the Navy commissioned USS Louis B. Puller in Bahrain. It was the first time a United States warship was commissioned outside American shores. The event confirmed the Expeditionary Sea Base as more than a concept. It became a fixture in Fifth Fleet's toolbox, able to anchor defense operations in a region where access is never guaranteed. Since then, the Navy has steadily expanded the program. The first contracts for the class date back to 2011 and 2012, with each new hull reflecting lessons learned from forward deployment. By August 2023, construction began on Expeditionary Sea Base 8, with delivery set for 2026. Each addition to the fleet extends the Navy's ability to maintain a mobile, persistent presence, wherever the mission requires, without waiting for permission from any port. As new expeditionary sea bases join the fleet, the United States Navy extends its reach, projecting force without relying on any port. In an era of contested seas, mobility is security. These ships aren't just platforms, they are the front line. The future of access is afloat. Share your thoughts below.